So we are excited this evening once again and thanking everyone who's been joining us since we started the series of webinars, and we just want to thank E4Impact for bringing this to all of us so that we are able to build our businesses. So while we wait for more people to join, maybe we can just be going to the chat room and introducing ourselves. It's very important to always have an opportunity to create visibility for yourself and visibility for your business. So we've got people joining in, and I would encourage everyone to go to the chat room, introduce yourself, where you're from, and what do you do in your country. I also encourage you to go to our social media pages. As we discuss, you'll be able to get more contacts about E4Impact, but I will soon introduce E4Impact to you. Right, so we've got our attendees coming in. Welcome. Welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. So we are very excited this evening to welcome our speaker, Sophie, all the way from Maputo. Thank you, Sophie, for joining us.
Hi, Berta. Hi, everybody. Good evening. I am very excited to be part of this webinar. First time for me.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for agreeing to be our speaker tonight. So tonight we are very excited to discuss once again, and I think the basis of our webinars is to think of all the challenges that an entrepreneur can possibly face in the process of starting, growing, and scaling their enterprise. So we are always responding to your questions, actually. This is one webinar where we allow you to drive the need of the knowledge or the information that we need to look for, and the speakers that we bring on here. It's mainly driven by your questions. And once again today, last week we were excited to talk about rebranding after COVID. How do you reposition your organization? How do you find your feet again after the damage that COVID did? COVID alienated us from our customers. It disrupted our distribution channels. It reconfigured the value proposition for that we can give our markets. So we talked last week, and we spoke to an entrepreneur and we spoke to a consultant about how we can reposition our businesses and get them back on track to be profitable businesses. Today, we are once again excited to discuss something that we feel is very important for the success of many entrepreneurs, and that is being able to fund your organization. And we're talking, we've spoken to venture capitalists, we've spoken to consultants from financial institutions. Today, we want to talk about a form of funding that can enable an entrepreneur at startup level to be able to finance their business even at growth level. Once again, I would like to introduce E4Impact Foundation to you, and the aim is to build impact entrepreneurs, as I always explain every week. We are very excited. So I'll just share my screen briefly and just share who is E4Impact and what are we trying to achieve. Our goal is to build the largest alliance of institutions and individuals who are passionate about promoting entrepreneurship and building impact entrepreneurs. We're excited to share our vision with you. We're excited to share our aim to train impact entrepreneurs instead of teaching entrepreneurship only. We are interested in building entrepreneurs who are able to impact their communities by creating jobs. And we partner with institutions that have the same passion. And of course, we intend to develop partnerships. We intend to develop companies, communication with partners in Italy that are able to build companies and be able to grow and scale our initiative. So we want to welcome you to E4Impact Innovation Webinars, where we were founded by the Catholic University of Milan and some passionate corporates as well, entrepreneurial corporates that built this vision and goals. The advantages of being part of the E4Impact family is definitely the fact that we are creating platforms where you can access funding. We are creating information around platforms that you are able to access financing. And as you can see, this is our daily goal, and building an alumni that is able to impact their communities effectively. We build flexible programs and activities in our MBA programs, certificate programs, and in our workshops in the accelerators across the 17 African countries that we are in. And we build platforms where we build market linkages and strategic partnerships with the industry and the academic world and the entrepreneur in between. We have a coaching and mentoring session where we bring in established entrepreneurs and captains of industry, policymakers, regulators to be able to share with the students in our programs so that they're able to scale their businesses and know how to build quality, to build skill, to build capacity, and to increase productivity and profitability in their enterprises. We're very passionate about increasing the turnover of our alumni and our students in our programs by building a market locally in the environments that they operate in, regionally and internationally. So we encourage you to join our programs, as we will offer many opportunities with B2B fairs that are held in the countries that we're in, and one that we hold in Italy, where you're able to meet institutions that are able to assist you. I want to encourage you, like I said, to join our MBA program, our certificate programs in entrepreneurship, and our accelerators in the different countries that we're in. And we can go to our social media pages and you'll be able to see. But here are just a few countries that are coming up with new editions. We have Ethiopia in January 2022, St. Mary's University, Kenya, Tangaza University College, in January 2022, Sudan, once again, University of Medical Science and Technology, January 2022, Ghana, University of Professional Studies in November this year, and in Zimbabwe, February 2022, at the Catholic University of Zimbabwe, in Mozambique, University of St. Thomas of Mozambique, in February 2022, in Uganda, if you're in Uganda, Uganda Matters University, in Egypt, SLD Education, in Sierra Leone, University of Makeni is starting soon. So please go to, you can even go to the chat room right now during this webinar, and you'll be able to access more information of our program leaders and our business coaches that you can contact in these countries. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have shared lots of information on all the activities happening in all the countries, everything to do with entrepreneurship, everything to do with business in Italy and all the African countries that we're in. Thank you. So I'll stop sharing, and then I'm excited to introduce our speaker for tonight, Sophie, all the way from Maputo. Sophie is a senior consultant who has a lot of experience in training, technical assistant, project monitoring, and evaluation. She's an agronomist by education, and she has specialized a lot in rural development economics with strong sociology components. So we're excited to learn from her about microfinance. As she's an expert in that area, we're excited to learn about relevance of financial literacy, community organization support, and how to hold training of trainers to be able to achieve more knowledge and literacy. So we're excited to know that she's actually coordinated the CO community, the savings community in Mozambique, and in there, 66 local credit associations are part of that, with 17,000 members, mainly women in the south of the country, which is very excited. As E4Impact, we're very excited about promoting women, with 33% of the alumni being women. So she's also worked on projects where she's managed access to financial services, component of IFAD funded projects. And in many activities that she's done, they've looked at savings, small loans management with small savings group. So, but anyway, here she is telling us more about what she's done and sharing the knowledge that she has. Sophie, I'll hand over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Bertha, for the introduction. It was great. I don't think I have more to say. I can answer question after that. Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. I am very honored to be part of this panel, and I prepared a small presentation that I'm going to share with you to support my little presentation, and then we can have a talk about any more information that you need. Great. So I am going to share my screen, and that will be, I don't know.
At the bottom, a little
green. Yes.
There it's
now, here we are. Great. Okay, so tonight I'm going to speak with you about savings-based finance, and there are different forms of organization or of institutions that are providing savings-based finance to people who normally don't access formal banking. So the main issue for most of the small entrepreneurs and the startup is to get access to finance, either to startup or either to buy inputs, to buy equipments, to start the business or to increase their business. Banks, formal banks, normally requires a legal documentation, an organized accounting records, a compelling business plan, and obviously collaterals. Most of the micro or small enterprises in the world and in Africa also are informal businesses, and such, even if they are formal legalized businesses, they most of the time don't have any accounting records or income statements, balance sheets, audited accounts, and more than anything, they don't have enough collaterals to provide to the bank. Conditions vary from country to country, from bank to bank, but most of the time there's also a comparticipation that is requested that can go from 20 to even 30% of the loan that is required, etc., etc. So formal banks are normally out of the access of small entrepreneurs, and even worse for startup entrepreneurs. So what are the SACCOs? SACCOs is an acronym for Saving and Credit Cooperatives. SACCOs have a long history. They've been, let's say, invented or created first in different places of the world. In Germany, and they're called Raiffeisen, and Canada, they're called Desjardins. In other places, I mean, with other names. As far as the 19th century. This social economy is the search of the people at the time, mostly in industrialized countries, to come over the difficulties they had as farmers, small farmers, or workers with very bad conditions, to access to goods and to access financial services. The cooperative, savings and credit cooperative, are based on proximity. The people are normally linked all together, either geographically, either now it's because they are all together working in the same enterprise. But the link makes them close in a way, and they all agree to deposit their savings in the cooperative. These rules are still on, and we'll see that SACCOs exist all over the world. Based on the collected money, the credit can be provided to members only. And normally, the amount of the loan depends on the previous savings that the borrower has deposited. Why is it based on the deposit? It's because the deposit record of a potential borrower shows his capacity to put on a regular basis a certain amount of money. So it helps also the managers to evaluate the capacity for repayment. I am saying that because this is an important issue that most of the bank requires also, but it's more important even in the cooperatives. Normally, cooperatives, savings and credit cooperatives, are managed by an elected board. Who is electing the board? It's all the cooperative members, and the rules, the basic rule of any cooperative is one man, one vote, meaning either you have one share or you have 100 shares, it's only one vote, contrary to the normal enterprises, let's say capitalistic enterprises, where the right to vote depends on how many shares you have. SACCOs are also normally not isolated. They are regrouped into networks and organized at regional levels. It's called normally a union, and at national level, they are called the federation. But regardless the level, is it at local level as a cooperative or regional or national, SACCOs are private entities, therefore they're not depending on the government, but they are controlled under specific laws. In many countries, the law for cooperative is a unique law, and because cooperatives have been very much developed for agricultural purposes, for smallholders, it's often the Ministry of Agriculture that is supervising all cooperative, including savings and credit cooperative. But more and more, the central bank, because they are financial institutions, central banks are putting in new laws for supervising the credit and savings cooperative, which means there's a certain control from the state on the behavior of the cooperative to make sure they follow the rules. If we look at a few data, cooperative, as I said, is now a worldwide movement. We can see that Africa, it's the bigger number of members, 40 million members exist are from Africa. This is the WOCU, the World Council of Credit Unions. Credit union is another name for SACCO, for cooperative. 40,570,000 members are from Africa, which is a bigger number regarding all the other continents, but with only 40,000 cooperatives. The age of the membership, it's also from the WOCO report, is we can see that members in Africa are young, with an average of 39 years, which is quite young, because you get, obviously it's an average, so you get older and younger. And in Africa, you get almost, 40% are women, which is only bigger in Latin America, where women represent 48% of the members. So this is to say that the SACCO movement is huge, at world level. And it is huge because it really responds to some needs, the need for people to access financial services. Now, there are other systems, other organizations that also provide saving-based finance. One of the very traditional, also worldwide system is a Roska. Roska exists very widely in Africa. It is called Silimba in Zambia. It is called Esuso in Nigeria. It is called Shitik in Mozambique. I don't know Zimbabwe. I don't have so many names. It's called Ekub in Ethiopia. In general, in French-speaking country, we call it Tontine, but there are local names as well. So this is based on trusted people who meet on a regular basis to save together. Normally, everybody saves the same amount, and the total is given in turn to one of the members, which means there is no interest on the savings, but the first who receive the total, the cake, we can say, gets actually a credit from the group. And every meeting, every session is going to pay back what he has borrowed from the group as he's paying his contribution. The last to receive actually only saved along the cycle, and he received the full amount at the end. So no interest paid on loan, no interest received on the savings. And members' objective for the savings are normally individual. It can be for education of the children. It can be for improvement of the house, to buy some goods, to invest in the business. Everyone has his own business, his own objective in life, and this Roska is a way of getting there. Sometimes the groups have a kind of joint objective, like everybody in the group is going to buy a set of chairs. So everybody, actually, the people don't get the money, but they get the set of chairs that they decided collectively to buy, and it goes all over the cycle. There are some risks associated to Roska. There's always a risk in life, but the main risk is members defaulting or running away, which means that after receiving the money, so it means that obviously the others won't get paid for, especially the one who are paying without receiving yet will be prejudice. There will be a prejudice for them. You have to excuse me, because I am French and English is kind of always difficult for me to speak, but I hope you understand me. Savings group is a kind of modern organization, modern Roska, in the sense it's always based on the trusted members, close people who meet on a regular basis to save. And the collected, yeah, I think the first paragraph is wrong, but the idea is that this is a group of people who meet on a regular basis to save all together. What is the main difference with the Roska is there are bylaws that are agreed by the group at the beginning of the cycle, of the saving cycle. The saving cycle is not that everybody gets his money and then the cycle is over, but it's the cycles that people agree. It can be 6 months, 1 year, or even more. Normally it's between 6 months and a year. They decided in the bylaw if they are going to provide loans or not. Some groups don't want to provide loans, some others do provide loans. what can be the amount of the loan, what will be the interest, what will be the terms of the loans. So these are all the decisions that has to be taken at the beginning. Also, in case of somebody passing away, they decided what's going to happen with the savings that this person has. So everything is decided at the beginning of the saving cycle, and the board that is elected by the group is making sure that the rules are respected, and they are organizing and moderating the meetings. Savings are done during the meetings, and if the group has decided to grant loans, those loans normally attract interest. Deposit and loans are registered, and at the end of the cycle, everybody recuperates its savings. The amount is not necessarily the same for everybody, but everyone gets its savings back, and the interest paid by the loan takers is distributed among the savers according to the savings they had. What are the common characteristics of Roska Savings Group and SACCOs? Those three systems are based on a membership. Membership meaning also some closeness, some proximity of the people. It can be at family level, neighborhood, enterprise, place, the market, if we are speaking about people selling in a market, but this is a working place or family or living place. People are close one to another. All of these help to save. It's saving is not easy, and most of the people consider they are too poor to save, although the experience shows it's not true. What is true is it is difficult to save when you are not very wealthy, and there's always needs to attend. So the little money that you can get is normally spent right away. Joining a group, joining a cooperative helps you to save, because it helps you to keep money out of the reach of your hand. So once the money is kept away, then you don't spend it. But if you have it in your pockets, then you spend it. The other characteristic that is common is that all those organizations use the money from the members to grant loans. We call it hot money. It's not cold money coming from outside. We don't know who the money is, but it's hot money, and there's a certain social pressure on the borrower who maybe is defaulting, because everybody knows him or her, and everybody can make pressure on this person, because this person has taken his neighbors, his families, his co-workers' money. And in all of these systems, the loans depend on the previous savings. Normally, loans are given by a multiplier of the savings that have been already accumulated. What are the consequences? It instills good practices. It instills people to save. As I said earlier, saving is not easy, and it's not natural for people to save, but joining group, and especially when you join a group for getting a loan, which is the case of many people, the obligation you have to save before getting the loan instills you good practices. You learn to save when you didn't have this habit. This savings allows also the group to verify your capacity and your consistency in putting money down. By saving very regularly, you show that when you will be borrowing, you will be able also to keep to provide the installments that is required for you to pay back the loan. And using the savings are also used as collateral. So it reduces the need for extra collateral because the savings themselves, your savings, are used as collateral. In some SACCOs, you can use your saving and somebody else's savings to if you don't have any assets, any goods that you can use as collateral, your savings plus two other members' savings can be used. People that who trust you can be used for collateral. So you don't have to have assets. This is the savings are using for collaterals. Now, after explaining the characteristic of those saving-based organizations, can we consider them as alternative source of funding for SMEs? Well, first thing to say is saving is a good practice in any case, either for domestic budget and for business management. Savings helps you to plan the use of the money that you want to do. It obliges you to be prepared. It obliges you to be able to face some adverse circumstances. So it's a very good habit to have as good practice. As I said already, everybody can save. My experience, I've seen people that you would say, how are they doing? But even little, they manage to save. So everybody can save according to its capacities. As alternative source of funding, the loan amounts will be according to your savings, meaning it's often little. If you have been saving little, then the loan will be also very small. But it might be better for you to start your business small. If you have a small financial capacity, you better start a small business and then grow your business as you grow your also financial capacity. Then thinking, I will start big, because one, you won't get the finance for, and two, your chances to fail are increasing with the size of the business that you pretend to do. So managing small businesses with according to your financial capacity helps you to grow, and you will discover that not everybody is able to grow. From my experience, I've seen some people, there is a point where they cannot manage to diversify, they cannot manage to increase their business. Some are more entrepreneurs in the sense of more dynamic, and those will grow and they will manage because they will accumulate financial capacities. Keeping the savings idea, they can accumulate experience and financial capacities that allow them to get bigger loans when the time is going. The advantage of this organization is that the requirement to get a loan are very little. Trust is the main one, and this trust will be based on your savings practices. It's not your documentation, it's not necessarily your business plan or your great ideas that will make you more bankable, more able to get a loan. It will be the assessment of your capacity to be regular in your payment. And for you, and on your borrowing records, your savings record will show how trustful you can be or not. The other advantage of this organization is you constitute your collateral little by little. And here I say, the earlier you start, the earlier you can access a loan. I just come from Ghana, and I've been evaluating a program that was supporting entrepreneurship for youth. Most of the youth, at the end of the training, they couldn't access any finance. And there were agreements with one bank, a rural bank, and there was an agreement also with a cooperative. And both said, well, the people didn't come for savings. They needed only to deposit so much on a regular basis, and we could have provided them 3 times their savings. If they had started early at the beginning of the training, saving whatever they had, working to get the income to be able to save, then at the end of the training, that was a 6 months in a house, and then on the job, another 3 months on the job, they would have been able to get a loan, but they were not, because there was no saving habits among those youths. The other advantage the other advantage of those system is that there's a kind of graduation. You can start with a Roska, go on with the saving group, and then upgrade to a cooperative, a SACCO. Because we can say somehow that they depend, I mean, there are different levels of savings and different amounts. Although you can, I've seen a savings group in Mozambique, the people are doing that for buying big cars. They buy big cars with the savings group, but they also save a lot of money, and this is the way they are, because they are wealthy. But normally, this is small amounts for less wealthy people. The cooperative can also admit anybody who can buy a share. Whatever the system you can access, it's fundamental to avoid default. Because the money of those systems is limited, it all depends on the savings of others. It's your neighbors that are savings, it's your co-workers that are saving, and this is their savings that is used to give you a loan. So defaulting implies putting the other into troubles. So it's not morally acceptable. It's not socially acceptable. You will be ostracized by the people that you have stolen. And it's also not financially advisable, because it gives you bad records. So somebody who is defaulting is normally quickly known as a defaulter, and it will be more difficult for this person to get access to other loans. But in the case you have any difficulties in paying your installment, one thing is very important in those community-based, saving-based organizations, is that there is more understanding than in a formal bank. In a formal bank, you didn't pay, there's already a red spot on under your name, and then the red is growing and growing. In this organization, people can understand you. It doesn't mean that they will forgive you, they will forget about the money that you owe, but they can be more flexible in the repayment, as long as you repay in not too long term. So yes, I think that the saving-based organization, either SACCO or the SACCOs or savings group, can be a way of financing startup businesses and small enterprise. It's not big money, but it can be the money you need to start and grow slowly by slowly your business. Thank you, and questions are welcome now. And sorry for being my English a little bit.
No. It went very well. I think we understood. And if there's anyone, please go to the chat room and you can be able to post your question for Sophie. So with you talked about, Sophie, you talked about, I mean, from my picking, most savings cooperatives, it's all about trust and it's all about commitment. Would you agree that this is the most important thing? And would you agree that this is the biggest reasons why they don't work sometimes?
I think this is a very important factors. When you say they don't work, who is not working?
I mean, the SACCOs for not working well or collapsing after they've started. Is it usually a measure of trust and lack of commitment when people don't pay their subscriptions? Or what are the main reasons why SACCOs maybe would not function well or collapse?
Well, there are many reasons for SACCOs to collapse. Default is one of the reasons, but it's not the only reason. There can be bad management, people providing too big loans. I mean, the default is sometimes produced by the management themselves. If the capacity to repay is not properly evaluated, and you get a too big loan for your capacity to pay back, then you might go into default. But I won't say that. I mean, yes, SACCOs may fail, but most of them, I mean, we've seen the numbers. There are more than 300 million people worldwide, members of SACCOs, and there are more, well, I don't have the total now on head, but we've seen the numbers.
Wow.
There are more than 300,000 SACCOs also worldwide. So it's not that they fail. The failure can come also because of bad management by the board, not only providing too big loans to people who cannot pay, but they can also sometimes they decided to make a big investment, to make a nice building, to spend a lot of money in things that are not maybe fundamentals.
Oh, okay. Mm.
Normally, SACCOs are somehow supervised. So it gives you a certain guarantee, much more than the informal group like a savings group or Roskas, which are not supervised by any governmental entity.
Wow. So Alucine said Roska call Osusu in Sierra Leone, it is a very effective system and common among small market women. Thank you for that information. We've also got a question which says, thank you for the presentation. What mechanisms are used or can be used for SACCOs to generate interest on their monies deposited by members? So maybe you could just go over that again. What mechanisms can be used to generate interest on the monies?
Well, normally the interest of a SACCO comes from the loans it provides. I mean, they can also put their money in some, if they want to invest in some assets, they have to be very careful. But normally, financial business is you borrow money, you lend the money, out of the lent money, you get interest, and with this interest, you pay your cost, and you provide interest, lower interest, to the people who get who saves. So the best way to make interest is to provide loans. But once again, the loans has to be very carefully granted. Otherwise, you lose money. You lose the interest that you won't get, and you lose the capital that you have lent. So, yeah, it's careful management makes you interest, makes you provide interest.
Okay, so
the profit is from careful management.
Great. You yourself as a consultant, I mean, what would be an easy access to training the management? Are there structures to train the managers once they are appointed, or the boards once they are appointed? And in these countries that you've mentioned, who would be responsible for that? Let's say we want to start our own SACCO. What would be the first office to walk in?
Yes, normally SACCOs are not really isolated. I don't know if you're speaking about SACCOs, cooperative, or if you're speaking about also savings group. But SACCOs nowadays are rarely isolated. So they are often promoted by the union or the federation at regional or at national level. Meaning that these federations, they provide technical assistances, training, and also control of the management of the local entity. So the training is provided, but then you've got a big board like ILO. The ILO is the International Labor Organization.
Yes.
Provides a lot of training. WOCU, the World Credit and Cooperative Organization, etc. I mean, there are many organizations that are providing.
And most countries have an ILO office in their country, so that's one place you can go to for training. Right, we have a question here. What are the general differences between SACCO loan products and membership terms for an SME and those available for an individual member of a SACCO? So what are the differences between, I guess the question there is, what are the differences between SACCO loan products and membership terms for an SME versus an individual member? I'm understanding that well. So do you have a situation whereby it's a SACCO where it's organizations like SMEs, and then you have a SACCO where it's individuals? What would be the main difference, or what should one watch out for in terms of building structures that are managed well? And what would be the benefits of? So maybe I own a business. Is it better for me to join as a company, or it's better for me to join as an individual?
Well, it depends on of the rules, but normally SACCOs are for individuals.
Normally,
so as a businessman, you can join a SACCO, and but it's not your business that is going to join the SACCO. SACCO are not banks that provide accounts for businesses.
So it's mainly it's usually individual level for you to, yes, okay. And then according to, so another question is, if the SACCO does not charge interest for the credit, can you guarantee how do you guarantee a benefit, and how do you maybe guarantee that it will succeed? But I think
SACCO always charge interest. As I explained, they need. I mean, as long as you collect money. I mean, as long as you have a building, you have staff, you have assets. You need electricity nowadays. You need computer equipment, etc. So there's a cost. There's a running cost to pay staff, even if it's only the guard outside. To provide some security, you will have to provide their cost. So by lending this money that you get, then you generate interests that are used to pay your cost and benefits to redistribute to the savers. there is no loans without interest in the SACCOs. There might be in the Roska, most of the Roska, the Tontine, the Susu, whatever the Silimba, there is no interest because everybody saves the same amount, deposit the same amount. It's let's say 5 people, 5 weeks. So number 1 get 500, number 2 will get 500. Everyone give 100, and everyone will get the 500 on its turn. No interest. On a SACCO, there will be interest. There's no way not having interest.
Okay, great. Tell us, maybe share with us a case whereby you've seen an individual really grow their entity or scale their business through a SACCO. Maybe you could share just a...
Sorry, can you say that again?
Share a success story of how a SACCO assisted an entrepreneur to build their business and scale their business.
Oh. Well, to tell you the truth, it's a long time I don't work in SACCO and for SACCO, but I can share. When I started in Mozambique, I started as a money. I mean, it was credit association. They were not SACCO because they had a different. I mean, the legislation didn't allow us to collect savings, so it was credit association. But we started very small credit, very small credit, and the more, I mean, as people were paying back their credit properly, they could access bigger loans. And what I've seen at the time is that the first 2 loans that were very small. The first was very small. The second was still very small, a little bit bigger. The third was a little bit bigger, but not that much. Those 3 people were paying on the basis of what their normal businesses. After, from the third loan, which was a bit bigger than the previous ones, to the next, either the person would invest in his business or her business, develop her business, and get more from the business to be able to pay back, because installments were growing. If the amount of the loan is growing, the installments were growing. Either they managed to do that and then develop their businesses, either they were getting into default.
That's true.
And I would say maybe 20% were getting into default, and then you have to action other ways of making the person pay through taking goods and things like that, which is not a very pleasant situation, but you have to do that. But I've seen so many people, getting big business because. But growing slowly by slowly, you see, not starting big, but starting small and getting into the habit of paying back, into the habit of making bigger business, changing their business, diversifying, going into getting more ideas,
Okay, that's great. That's great. So definitely, as our time is coming to an end, thank you, Sophie, for joining us this evening and for sharing great nuggets. And I think what I picked up is very important, and it teaches you discipline to be able to save and build a strong financial culture in your as your individual and as a business. So it inspires a saving culture. So it definitely allows someone to be able to commit and understand what their disposable income is and build assets and infrastructure for their organizations so that they can build collateral for their organizations. I appreciate it. Yeah. So thank you for saying, and you know, it allows many entrepreneurs who have amazing businesses and ideas to have financial strength to make them a reality, to grow them from an idea and to expand and scale their businesses. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. And from your statistics, women and young people, youth, are mainly the uptakers of SACCOs. And I see that, and if you could give back a little feedback on the men who take up these long, would they be young men or elderly men?
You asking me?
Yes, sorry.
So sorry. Who did take the loan? Old man or young man?
Yes, just the statistics that you gave earlier on, a question to say, when it comes to the men, is it younger men or elderly men who are taking up SACCOs membership? In terms of just general in communities, women definitely, but young men or elderly men?
Yeah, I think everybody is going. When you see that African, it's 39 years old, the average age of a member, meaning, I mean, this is quite young. A young entrepreneur goes up to 35. So you have old man, obviously, normally, it's an old movement. So it came from long, and you got all the people. But you also get a lot of young people, because this is a real service, and much more easily accessible than normal banks. This is easier. This is it doesn't mean that it's you don't have to pay back or what, but it's more familiar. It's more like a family stuff.
That's good.
I would say that it's all the range of people are accessing cooperative.
That's great. So thank you very much once again for joining us this evening, and thank you to everyone who joined us this evening. Let's go out there, let's build our dreams, and let's have positive impact on our societies. And once again, don't forget to go to our social media pages. You get more information. This webinar will be up on the E4Impact YouTube channel, so watch out for it there if you need to refresh your memory on some of the topics that we've covered in the last few months. Thank you and good night. Thank you, Sophie. Take care.